We now take you to the broadcast of It's Time with Reverend Nathaniel W. Martin. Here's Reverend Martin.
All right, thank you, Dr. Blackwell, and let me say Hotep Habaragani to my Africana Studies colleagues, contemporaries, and friends and seekers after the truth all. And let me hasten on to say good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, but certainly never good night and never goodbye, because I've always found goodbyes traumatizing, especially in the light of the death of my wife back in 2012. Her name was Carrie, and I still mourn her. And yes, with my faith, it's still intact. I mourn the loss of my wife, Carrie, and I trust that does not cause you to turn away. But if it does, then you worship you grieve your way. Let me grieve mine. All right. My name is the Reverend Nathaniel Wayne Martin. I'm the pastor of the New Life Institutional Baptist Church here in the city of Los Angeles, and we are located at the 8916 South Main address. That's 8916 South Main in the city of Los Angeles. 9003 is the zip code. And if you're in the area and the Lord guides you to come by our worship service, feel free to come on in and let the usher know that you've seen our broadcast, and we will be so thrilled to entertain you and have you in our midst. All right? All right. This is a social justice offering, notwithstanding. It's another episode. And we try to stick to the facts as we know them, or they have been presented to us, because we try to deal with the immediate if we cannot put it in its historical long view context. So we involve ourselves with the sociological, the historical, journalistic, and all of that. Political science is mixed in there as well. Seems like I'm forgetting something, but oh, I know what it is. We need to get our scriptures together. By this being a social justice broadcast or episode, we have a strong affinity to the Bible, and we believe it is our standard by which we should go by. And I think I said it's a social justice issue, so we try not to get too much into the preachy, but I definitely believe in the admonition, how shall they hear without the preacher, and how shall he preach except he be sent. All right? So don't get me in the wrong bag. Scripture-wise, we go to Proverbs 14, verse 34, which says that righteousness exalteth a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. All right? And then go by Micah 6 and 8, which is political science, which says, He hath showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. That's sociology right there. That's social justice. That's social activism. That's Jesus walking the streets of Jerusalem. Then we come over to the New Testament, one of the scriptures among many. Don't just think this is exhaustive. No, there's so many social justice scriptures in the Bible, but I like the one in Luke chapter 12, the first verse, last clause, way down at the bottom of that verse. It says, beware, Jesus talking to his disciples, says, beware the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. I think you see where I'm going. And then, of course, our very descriptive catch-all scripture, Paul writing to the Ephesian church, and in the 6th chapter, verses 11 and 12. I'm going to try to read them verbatim as they are written. Verse 11, put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. And then verse number 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. You can see how many times the word against is repeated. Against means that you are resisting something. You're pushing back against the principality, pushing back against the powers, pushing back against the rulers of the darkness of this world, pushing back against spiritual wickedness in high places. And so that is where we as followers of Christ are at the present time. I said followers of Christ rather than Christians, because Christians has become such a calumnied and hackneyed phrase, and it's been open to so much abuse socially, and it has been abused socially. You got people that call themselves Christian nationalists, and their gospel is a mixture of patriotism, white supremacy, and a few other things, but mostly patriotism and or white supremacy. And and that's why Donald Trump issued a Bible that has the Constitution in it. See, patriotism, white supremacy, and a little dab of the gospel. But it all comes out wrong, because if you start wrong, as they taught us back in logic, if your premise is wrong, then your conclusion will always also be wrong. It cannot be other than wrong if you start wrong. If you start with a minor premise that's wrong and you get a major premise that's wrong, then your major conclusion and your primary conclusion, when looked at from the view of your primary statement and your latter statement, must also become wrong. So that's a faulty syllogism, and we have a lot of those in our world today. First off, let's go back to Texas, because Texas is doing that redistricting, where Governor Abbott is trying to pick up 5, count them, 5 more seats. Listen, out of the 38 seats in the legislature, the Republicans right now hold 25. And now they want to gerrymander so that they can pick up 5 more seats, so that Donald Trump, when he gets down to the end of his term, will not have any trouble getting people to vote for him to do a 3rd term. Remember, his first term was in 2016. And now when he was re-elected last year in 2024, now he's creeping about how he can get that second contiguous term, which would be a 3rd term. He's not eligible to run again by law. But if he can get these state legislatures in his corner, he will certainly attempt that, regardless of the outcry. Okay, so that is what they're doing in Texas, and not only in Texas, but also in Florida. And what the Texas official admits to, I'm sorry, I'm getting out ahead of myself. They're trying to eliminate the seat in Harris County that is held by Representative Al Green, who has voted to impeach Trump twice. I think he has a 3rd impeachment protocol on the floor as we speak. But the Republicans are trying to eliminate his seat. In other words, if they can gerrymander the district that he's in, because he's in a predominantly black district. But if the Republicans with that can redraw the map and split up the district, so like if you live on Dowling and you live on the, say you're on the east side of Dowling and I live on the west side of Dowling, but the Republicans split it up like they did when up in Prairie View, when they divided Prairie View A&M College, so that one side of the college went to this district and the other side of the college went to another district. That's how they divide. That's what you call, that's called cracking. They're cracking up the district, so that, but what that does is dilute the vote. So now blacks who were voting together on Dowling or on Prairie View A&M College, now they are divided or diluted. So that's what the purpose of it all is. And they always push a primarily Democratic district, when they crack it, into a mostly Republican district. So the votes of the Democrats, who generally have turned out to be black, are now diluted because they are spread out further. And that's one of the things that has happened here in the state of California, where the districts have been redrawn. I think when Maxine Waters started out, she was in the 33rd district, but now she has been pushed over into another 37th district, if I don't get it wrong. And the Republicans are constantly trying to find a way to unseat Maxine Waters by diluting her district. The reason why that Congresswoman Barragan came in to split up Maxine Waters' district was for that very purpose, so that the Republicans could dilute her voting power. And she has, where she used to have both sides of, say, Central Avenue, she now has only the west side of Central Avenue. Ms. Barragan has the east side of Central Avenue. That is the effect of dilution or gerrymandering, as the Republicans practice it here in the state of California and in all 50 states. Count them. And so this is no time for you to be asleep, because if the Republicans have their way, like I said, currently they hold 25 of 38 seats, and the new map would greatly imperil the seat of Jasmine Crockett, who is up in the Dallas area, and it would imperil the seat of Congressman Al Green, who is down in the Houston area. So don't ever think that your vote doesn't count. If it doesn't count, why are they trying to dilute it so much? And why are they trying to keep you from voting so much? Why did they used to hang Negroes the day before the election? Or if a Negro had a chance, dared to go out and vote, they might come to his house and kill him that evening for voting. But you say voting don't matter? You better think it again. And you better get back out there and get back in the fight. All right? Now, while we're still in Texas, on the flood, they're having a hearing up in the state capitol there in Texas. And so far, what they have found out is that the man that was coordinator, let me get his name is William Thomas. He is the Kerr County, K-E-R-R, County Emergency Management Coordinator. Now his salary is $32.97 per hour. That's his salary. He earns $68,570 a year in his present post. All right. His testimony was that he was ill and was asleep, and his wife didn't wake him up until 5:30 on July 4th. Well, the water started at 1 a.m. and people were trying to go to high ground, or else they were being swept away from one a.m. in the morning. So while he was sleeping, you can't make this stuff up, folks. So while he was sleeping, trying to get over whatever he had, so he claimed, he was not attentive. And what warnings that were going out, he wasn't attending because he had his phone off. Now, there were warnings that among the commission members in the emergency like that, but he wasn't a part of it because he was ill, according to him, or he was asleep, according to his wife. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick said everyone was here working their butt off, and you were nowhere to be found. He said, I just want to put that on the record. I want that to be clear. And while we're on the subject, because, you know, the people that were in charge of the emergency response, the coordinators, you know, they were all supposed to be tuned in or tied in and linked up. And they were getting their warnings, but this man was asleep at the house, so he wasn't paying attention. Lord have mercy. You can't make this up. The sheriff of Kirk County, his name is Larry Leitha. I hope I'm not butchering that name, Leitha, says that let me see, they were going out, but they didn't realize how bad it was until around 4:30 in the morning. But if you hear the testimony of the people that are up on video, they started drowning. That river started rising. That river rose 30 feet. Some say 26, some say 30 feet. In a little bit under an hour. And motor homes were being swept away. People were hanging on to tree limbs for dear life. And the man was asleep. The Federal Emergency Management Coordinator, who makes $68,000 a year, and who is supposed to be in charge of planning the response to just these type of disasters. So I thought I would throw that in for y'all to see what is happening here and why politics matters, why voting matters, why you could get that job if you could sleep through the flood like this man was doing and make that money. That's good money. And that is a judge named Rob Kelly, who was also on the emergency management team, but he was 100 miles away down in his second house in Travis County. And his wife told him about the flooding. But by the time he got back up from 100 miles away, naturally everything had been, you know, at a crest level, at a crisis level. And so here come these two lightweights making all this money, because this judge's salary is $175,000 a year, mind you. And where was he? He was 100 miles away, down in Travis County, at his second house. Some say he was fishing. But by the time he got back up to Kerrville, where his seat was, the people who had elected him, the crises had gone way past him. And so you can see how voting matters and why politics matters and why you need to keep yourself in the loop, okay? Now, under switching reels, but still talking about the same thing, because it's all about the Benjamins. Remember the big, beautiful bill that the Republicans passed? Said it's a big, beautiful bill, and it's going to put 61,000 people per year will be sent to their deaths because they can't afford to get the health care that they were previously getting. And they said it was going to cut $880 billion away from the health care programs. $880 billion cut over 10 years. Dr. William Barber says that's 61,000 deaths additional by the time this thing gets into full swing. And it's going to add, as it were, $1 to $3 trillion. Trillion with a T, not a billion with a B or a million with an M. We're talking trillion. Now, if you're trying to imagine in your mind how much is $1 trillion, it is said that if you spent $1 million a year, it would take you 2,470 years to spend through $1 trillion. And what they are cutting is going to amount to $3 trillion. $3 trillion. If you put that on a pallet of $100 bills, and you stack it too high, that this table would be one pallet, and the next pallet be like that. It would say if you have $1 trillion, you would have to have double stacked $100 bills, pallets stacked 50 feet wide and 250 feet long in order to put $1 trillion on the pallets. That's a lot of space, child. That's a lot of money. Trying to transport that money would take you 103 trailers, stacked double high, front to nose to door to front and all that, in order for you to transport at one time that amount of money, $1 trillion. Now you think about that, my brothers and my sisters. That's what they're cutting away from the poor. And that is what our bills are going to be looking like for health care going forward. After the 2026 midterm elections, these things, the bad parts of this big, beautiful bill are going to start going into effect. And I would like you to fathom that in your mind. How are you going to afford $1 trillion in healthcare costs? That's your prescriptions, trips to the doctor, trips to the hospital, hospitalization, what do you call that? Occupational therapy, and the other one, which one is for the upper part of the body, and 2 therapies. I'm getting old now, I can't remember like I used to. But occupational therapy and physical therapy, that's what it is. Occupational therapy and physical therapy. Those 2 types of therapies are going to get more and more expensive. I was talking to a friend of mine who's had shortness of breath, and he was told by the doctor this past week that it wasn't his heart. So now he needs to go back to the hospital, get some more MRIs to try to figure out where is this fluid that is causing him shortness of breath. Well, he can't go to UCLA because they're going to make him wait almost 24 hours before they see him. He can't go to Cedars because that waiting room is going to be a long time. And so he's going to try to go out to Torrance Memorial. Hopefully, they will get him in before too long so he can get that CAT scan or that MRI and to try to localize where that fluid is at in his body, because it's causing him shortness of breath. He can't hardly walk around in his apartment. His apartment ain't hardly bigger than his room. And you got to sit down in your house. You know something ain't right. But fortunately, the doctor said it's not his heart. Okay, well, doctor, what is it? And like I said, his earliest appointment, that if you wait on the doctor, is going to be August 28th. And so you can see how that is going to impact his health. If he has to wait that long before he can get in to get a doctor to get him to have an x-ray or a CAT scan or MRI, 5 minutes? Okay. So that he can, see what's wrong with him. And this figures in this big, beautiful bill because it costs money. And let's face it, if you black and you get old, it's a cutoff to how much health care you're going to get in this country. You may well face it and get ready for it, because it's going to hit you in the face one of these days when you go down to see that doctor or that nurse, or go down to the doctor's office. They say, how old are you? You say, well, I'm 77. Oh, well, push his gurney over there into the corner, because he done lived his life. He's black, he's old, and they're not going to give you the same level of health care that you will get if you were white and old. Because speaking of that, how many of you remember back in 2016, Miss Kira Johnson went into Cedars-Sinai Hospital to have a baby by cesarean section, I think is the correct title. In other words, you're not having a baby through the normal vaginal canal, birth canal, but the doctor is going to make an incision on your abdomen and remove the child. That's what they call cesarean. She had trouble in her first birth, and so her doctor had to deliver that baby by cesarean. And so when she checked in, her doctor had everything all set up for her to go to Cedars-Sinai Hospital and have the baby by cesarean section. Let me read you what I wrote here. It is said that Kira Johnson died due to lack of care. If you read the deposition, they asked the person the question, can you tell us why black women don't get the same quality of care as white women? And the person who was being deposed said, I believe it's structural racism. And he was asked if she was sitting across the table having coffee or tea, and one of them asked her if Kira Johnson was a victim of racism. She said that she saw every day she should have gone back to the operating room sooner. And the upshot was that Kira Johnson's husband, Charles, sitting there watching his wife slowly bleed to death. She was bleeding internally. He could see her abdomen rising and being distorted. He was talking to the nurses and talking. The doctor that did the delivery, that was another thing. The doctor during delivery, they did that delivery in 17 minutes. And when they were questioned at the deposition, said, have you ever known a cesarean to be done in that short a time? And the person said, no, they ain't never done like that. 17 minutes, that's too short. Anyway, you can see where this is headed. And so we got to get busy, because we're not getting good health care as it is in the system as it currently exists. The structural racism is built into the system. If you read the experiments that were done by Dr. Sims, J. Marion Sims is his name. He has a big statue down in Claremont. And but he was a racist, and he didn't believe that black women had any feelings because they were slaves, and he was a slave holder. And that mindset is still being taught in many of our top universities, medical schools and universities, that black people don't experience pain like white people. And what I'm saying, if you're working on a job and they don't want to pay you what you worth, take my advice. That's structural racism. Don't waste your years. Don't waste your life. If they don't want to pay you what you worth, don't work for them. Thank you, Doc. We out of here. Love you.
And I've had some hills to climb.